Gotham Season 5, Episode 10, I Am Bane. So this episode I thought was pretty entertaining. It leads, by the end, I'd say it officially leads into the flash forward that we got at the beginning of the very first episode this season. So I thought that was pretty cool because I've kind of been curious, like, well, what, officially goes wrong? And it ends up being that the general gets, I was about to say possessed, but he just ends up being mind controlled. And so he brings in the big order to basically wipe out the city. And that's kind of what puts everything into this crazy state because no one realizes that the general is actually under mind control. So I thought that was pretty cool. In general, I thought this was a really entertaining episode. Unfortunately, I had to, wait to watch it online because for whatever reason, again, I think it just won't record the episodes. It says a schedule. I don't know what the deal is. Just didn't record this week again. So I had to watch it a little bit later. So I didn't see the promo yet for the new episode. I have to actually go look it up to see what the next episode is going to be. But I'm really excited. I think this was a really fun episode. We get to see Barbara officially has the baby in this episode. So that was pretty entertaining watching her have to kind of go through that crazy journey where the beginning of the episode is like, okay, she's going into labor, so she takes off. Turns out, of course, she ended up stealing a piece from the sub. And so, Penguin and Riddler have to go find her so that they can get the piece back and take off. And that's when Bane ends up showing up because Nyssa Al Ghul actually comes back for revenge against both Bruce and Barbara for them killing her dad. So thought that was awesome. Also thought it was interesting. They went with Nyssa, which is the less well-known character. I mean, she's technically fairly new. I think she's only maybe 8 years old as far as being within the comics or something. Probably a little bit more than it's probably been 10 years or something. But she's a fairly new character. She's pretty brand new. She's been in Arrow as well. She was in Arrow before Talia was actually in Arrow. Slight spoilers. I mean, if you're not watching it, you probably don't care. But sorry in case you are catching up now. But yeah, Nyssa Al Ghul's been in some stuff. She's a newer character. She was in, I think, the last Batman game. I think she was in Arkham Knight, if I'm not mistaken. She's in Arkham Knight, so we get to see her in there as well. So, she's getting some play in the series, and I'm surprised that they went with Nyssa instead of, going with Talia, especially with it being the last season. It's just throw in whatever random famous characters they got, but they went with Nyssa instead. And I was like, that's pretty interesting that they would decide to do that. So thought that was cool. Of course, Eduardo, naturally, he does end up becoming Bane, which was kind of obvious based on the fact that he got the mask. And he said something in that episode where it was like, oh, it's the Bane thing. But of course, he officially becomes Bane. Excuse me, I thought he was fine as Bane. I feel like they referenced the Batman, the backbreaking thing with Alfred where he hits him up against the pole and he knocks him unconscious. I assume he's not dead. I don't think they killed Alfred. I'd be very upset if they did, especially because it's my favorite version of Alfred that there has ever been. So I'd be really upset if they actually killed him. But I don't think he's dead. I think he's just really messed up right now. But I thought it was fun. It was all right. So he's Bane. He's going through. He's beating people up. He's walking through fire. I don't know what he did to that woman, that nurse in the beginning when he walked in. It was like he broke her neck or something, and she just dropped to the ground and didn't get up. And I was like, did he just kill her, or did he just push her and his dramatic TV falling or what? But I'm like, I think she's dead. I don't know. It was hard to tell, but I'm like, he just kind of went like that, and she just, that was it. And I was like, I don't think she made it. So something happened there. I don't know, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was fairly decent with him as Bane. He was just beating people up, left, especially by the end when we get to Alfred. But he was beating up Jim in front of Bruce. He was beating up Alfred at the end of the episode. And he's, like I said, walking through flames and stuff like that. So it was all right, not too shabby, not comic book style. He's got this weird, it was almost like he had a circuit board on the front. It was more sort of steampunk armor, but it was it had so many little lines through it. I was like, it almost looks like just a bronze circuit board. And it just looked weird. The whole time I was looking, I was like, I feel like they should have just done a plain jacket or something. I don't know. But I was like, every time I saw it, it just it didn't look like armor. It legitimately looked like it had wires and stuff, and they just spray painted it bronze or something. And I was like, it just looks weird to me. Every time I looked at it, I was like, I can't see it as armor because there's so many lines on it. I just keep, for some odd reason, I guess it's the nerdy part of me, I'm just all I keep seeing is this brown circuit board on this dude's chest. So that's what it kept looking like to me. It was just really weird, but that was interesting. Of course, we do see Jim end up escaping ultimately. He gets a little bit of super strength. That didn't seem like it impacted him throughout the rest of the episode. They had that moment when he's on the table and stuff, and that was one of the little enhancements that Hugo Stranger's going to do with him. But he gets up, he breaks free of the straps, and then he pushes Hugo. And then that was kind of it. And I was like, I don't feel like he had any lasting side effects after that. I don't think the super strength, kind of stayed with him. It was kind of just in that moment he had upgrade almost like of adrenaline. And then it was like, all right, well, you broke free before anything was really permanent, and so that was it. Nothing came of it. But they could go back to that. They could say that there's some extra little pieces there, but it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out, if it ultimately has an impact in any way, shape, or form. We had a pretty cool scene with Barbara when Lee is actually pushing her, and they do like the first person view where she's like shooting people and stuff while screaming, and she's in labor pains. So I thought that was actually a cool scene. It was like Barbara always does like some real crazy stuff where it's like, it's tough. It's cool. It makes her character really entertaining. So really enjoyed that. Lee and Ed actually run into each other for the first time in a super long, in months, in a super long time. So I thought that was pretty cool. Ed has the piece, so we find out that, he stole the piece from Barbara. So him saying like, oh, we'll buy you guys time, was actually because he was protecting Lee, which of course he doesn't want to give that answer, but we know that was that was the case. So I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting, and we may or may not see what ends up happening with that. Probably most likely nothing, because of course Lee and Jim are married, but there might be something there. So that should be interesting to see just how that plays out in general. But like the episode for sure, thought it was entertaining. Love the way it ended, where everything seems like it's working out. We already knew that things were going to go wrong with the commander, because they show like the little eye flick thing. So it's like, okay, well, that's going to go wrong. And they, wait till he gets basically delivered back to base, and then he executes the order to wipe out the city. And then we have Nyssa actually in the Sirens Club, and she's there waiting for Lee and Barbara. And just the way it ends, where it's like, like, I'm Nyssa Al Ghul. It was like, I believe you knew my father. And like, she does the generic evil thing when there's a baby. It's like, the weird super evil thing, and caress the baby's head and stuff, and being super calm, but obviously it's a very tense situation. I was like, okay, cool way to end the episode off. So I definitely enjoyed that. Things are falling apart officially in the city. It's getting wiped out. We have whatever's going to happen with Nyssa, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Bane is still alive, so we'll see what happens there. I assume Alfred is going to be okay. I don't think they're going to kill him off, like I said. Although they did do a lot of talking about it. There was a bunch of, like, we're rebuilding Wayne Manor. Him talking to Selena and being like, I'm not just going to retire and stuff like that. And like, with Master Bruce being grown, there's only, growing up and stuff, there's only a few things that I can really do for him now. Like, I'll still be here to kind of guard him and protect him, but I'm going to help him rebuild the manor, and that'll kind of be like my last big thing, and then I'm kind of just here to help. And I was like, and like I said, I was like, okay, like, we know what Alfred does. He's always there. He's there when he's Batman. He helps him, stitches him up, all that extra stuff. And it was like, would they do something that crazy, especially with like, if of all the characters, no joke, aside from like Bruce, because you literally can't kill Batman. Outside of Bruce, I'm like, Alfred's the character I want to see live the most. If anything, if I was picking, it would really be Alfred out of like every single character. I like Alfred the most out of all the characters in the show. But I was like, man, if they kill off somebody, which end of this series, that sort of thing, it's always the dramatic thing, somebody ends up dying. But man, I would really hope it's not Alfred, because he's my favorite character in the show. So I hope that doesn't happen, but either way, definitely a fun episode. I think it'll be out of commission for a little bit, but I don't think they'll like actually kill him off. Things will just be a little crazy. And I'm trying to remember, for the flash forward that they definitely had, it was Jim, Bullock, Penguin, Riddler. I don't think Bruce was there. Batman can't use guns, or not real guns, because they had the scene where he was like on the walkie-talkie. I was like, of course, they give him a gun, but technically it's just a tranquilizer gun. So it's like, okay, it allows for them to kind of mess around with that little rule. But I don't think he was there, and I don't think I remember seeing Alfred during that flash forward either. So it could be, he's just out of commission right now, so Bruce decided to stay with him. Plus, they didn't want him in the firefight anyway. So, Bruce and Selena are staying with Alfred as he's out of commission, and that's where we have like the crazy shootout with all the characters from the very first episode. But hopefully he's not dead. I highly doubt that's the case. I don't know if they tease it or anything like that in the promo, but either way, I'm just going to be like, they better not kill Alfred, or I'll be like super pissed. But I enjoyed the episode. Thought it was a really good episode. Naturally, want to know what you guys thought about it, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it, and of course, with everything that happened in this episode, in general, I would love to know your predictions going forward, and I definitely want to know what you guys thought about the reveal that Nyssa Al Ghul was the one that kind of set things off. Like, she's Walker, basically. She's this fake person, and it ends up being Nyssa Al Ghul. Which, as soon as she brought up the family thing, I was like, well, that's her. I of course assumed it was going to be Talia Al Ghul, which oddly enough, based on the comic book version of Talia al Ghul, I feel like that would have been better because she naturally has like long hair and stuff. Like every time they show Talia al Ghul, she always has long hair, and I was like, she almost fits perfectly for that role to actually like look like Talia al Ghul. So it's kind of funny when I was thinking, I was like, it's odd because it, visually it kind of fits perfectly. Like she was, had the long jacket and stuff. She had the long hair. And I was like, that. I feel like it would have been perfect for her to actually be Talia al Ghul solely based on her look. And it could have been the same. I mean, honestly, they're both, both characters are, Rach's daughters. So either way, the story would have been exactly the same. They could have picked either one. It wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever. But unless they decide to pull like a super mega twist and then Talia ends up coming in or something. Which I don't think would be the case. Granted, it doesn't. None of this stuff matters. I was about to say they probably wouldn't do that because Talia al Ghul is supposed to be, she has like a relationship and stuff with Bruce Wayne. So they technically reverse the ages because Nyssa is supposed to be the younger daughter. But none of that stuff matters anyway. It's the end of the series, so we aren't going to see Bruce go through all the normal Batman stuff. So even if it was Talia, it would have been like, well, it's the end of the series anyway. Like, it doesn't actually matter if they do any of that stuff. But I guess that's like their little nod, like they reverse the ages. And it'd be like, now you know that Nyssa's here. She's the older sister. So Talia can still grow up to be like in the same age range as Bruce and all the other extra stuff that comes from that, like Bruce Wayne having a son, Damian. So if you guys didn't know that, that's where Damian comes from. It's actually Talia al Ghul. But yeah, enjoyed the episode. Definitely looking forward to the next one. Like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this one and, your predictions going forward and how everything's going to play out. And of course, the reveal of Nyssa coming in and being the one to kind of set off the final, crazy set of events for the episode or for the series in general. So definitely put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.